tonight in executive session. We're now ready to continue with the public portion of the meeting. On the President's report, today I made a trip down to Trenton to hear a piece of legislation on park that would bring the requirement, the graduation requirement, in line with the current testing practice. Got all the way there, waited patiently, and then the legislation was held. So the situation with park is that there's still no determination relative to grandfathering in the current juniors and seniors and their graduation requirements. I am sure that it will happen. I can't imagine any politician, particularly the entire New Jersey Assembly, who are running for a re-election in November, not grandfathering in the current juniors and seniors, allowing them to graduate having completed the requirements that they completed according to before the court decision struck down those requirements. So, but the situation is continuing, which it is not a happy thing for anybody, particularly parents of seniors. So we wait, either for the court to make a determination on park or for the legislature to try to bring about a determination on graduation requirements. And that is the President's report.
Thank you. Just several updates. Construction-wise, Central is continuing to move forward. We have run across a couple of asbestos problems, which we kind of expect when you're tearing down some walls, some pipe coverings, some tiles with the mastic or the glue on it. Nothing too extreme, nothing that we didn't expect when we started working in an older building. The Ridgewood Avenue HVAC project, we're looking to start that in April. On April 15th, legally, we can turn off the heat at that time. Obviously, if we're looking to work on the boiler system, we need it off in order to tear it apart. And we're looking to remove some of the ceilings in the hallway, so we have a little access to the wall space that pipes will be running through. It will give us a little head start when we head into the summer. It's going to be a tight schedule for Ridgewood Avenue School, being that it's so large and how it's constructed, so we need as much time as possible. And we're continuing to work towards the bid process at Linden and Forest for their HVAC projects. This time of year, we're at our mid-year time. The high school just finished their quarterly exams, and what that will mean for us at the high school is we start looking towards next year, starting the schedule process. I know a bunch of junior parents have been in meeting with the counselors, having their junior conferences. I've spoken to the middle school counselor. She's getting prepared, start the scheduling process for the middle school students. We start reviewing programs that we've implemented this year and start talking about potential initiatives for next year. And one of the biggest component at this time is really getting our budget ready for next school year. Barbara's in the midst of working on that. We'll be meeting with the Finance Committee to take some initial looks at it. In March, we'll do a budget presentation for you. And then in April, we'll finalize the budget with another presentation. We're waiting on aid numbers that typically come in February. They've been delayed to the first week of March this year when the governor gives his State of the State speech. I do want to address roughly 2 weeks ago, there was an adult, unknown adult that came into the high school building. We've been working very closely with the police just to give you a little better understanding. It did happen at 7:20 in the morning before most of the students were in the building. Our security, the person who works at the security desk, is the one to let them in. Had a brief discussion with the individual. It was less than 2 minutes, and the individual left the building at that time. Just someone we didn't know. He identified himself as a new resident into Glen Ridge and asked her a couple questions about the operations of the school, starting time, end of the day. Just based on those questions, we thought it was prudent for us to contact the police about it. And the police came in and did an investigation, and I believe they are still investigating the situation. We continue to reiterate our safety protocols, our security protocols. I know that Mr. Lawler has spoken with the students to make sure that we're not letting students in through exterior doors. Everyone should be entering through the main doors. At the same time, we happen to be working with a security consultant who's looking at our buildings and will be giving us recommendations based on surveying all 4 buildings of how we can improve our security. So it's something that we worked roughly 6 years ago when we made our first initial security protocol steps. Retirement-wise, we do have Cindy Balthup, who's a learning consultant at Linden, putting in retirement starting April 1st. Cindy has been out most of the year on medical leave. She's been with the district since 2000, so it's been a little over 18 years in the district. I worked with Cindy when I was principal at Ridgewood Avenue, so I got to work with her for roughly 6 years. Very compassionate, an advocate for the students, knows special ed extremely well. It's when we have someone like that as part of the team, having that expertise and the experience of working on the child study team and really helping parents who are having those first initial steps at that child classification process there. It's a tough loss for us, but we do want to wish her the best. And the last thing I just want to promote, Thursday during the day and then in the evening hours starting at 6 o'clock, Forest Avenue is having International Day. So if you have some time Thursday evening, we'll go over to Forest and have some food and see the project the students are working on.
Thank you. Okay, we've come to the first public comment period for comments or questions on agenda items only. If you have a comment or question, raise your hand and I'll recognize you and let us hear what you have to say. Mrs. Sala.
Yeah, regarding the possible intruder or unidentified person, is a better word. I saw the excellent, flyer or whatever that was sent out electronically with a sketch and a description of what happened. Why would you not want to post that to, especially like the Ridgewood that is across the street from the high school's Facebook page too, so that people would know?
Those are decisions the police are making at this time.
Okay. I would just think that you would put it on there because those parents, along with the high school parents, are the ones in the area and most likely to possibly see somebody that they would hurt. So it would be helpful.
I'll speak to the chief.
Thank you. Other,
I think Mrs. Lane mentioned at some point that there's going to be some new classes next year, maybe some new AP classes or something. Do you know when the program for studies for the 2019-20 year, is that going to be before potentially they pick their classes in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, typically what will happen is once the quarter ends, first week or two, they start meeting with the grade levels and they'll have the program of studies for them at that time.
Okay,
It'll
because
be
the other ones
available
are online already,
Yes.
so I just hadn't seen it yet.
I'll follow up with them
Okay,
and find
thank
out
you.
where they are. But usually the first week or two in February it's out.
Okay, thank you.
other questions or comments? We'll do all the first, then I'll do Becky. Please.
I just had a comment and question about Cindy Balthup's retirement. I know the CPAC has heard from several parents about deeply concerned about losing her. She's very valuable to the special education program. In addition to that she's been absent, and the absence has been felt by a lot of parents also, particularly for the primary 1 class at Linden that was looking to her for, we're hoping to have her guidance all year, and she hasn't been here. So I know the concern is, are you going to fill this position quickly? Is it a priority? Are you going to be, what criteria are you using? Is it going to be an LDPC? Because I believe I heard that the person filling in for her is not LDPC. So there were several questions and concerns brought up. So we're hoping that the CPAC will hear updates and from Jack and how it's going and what the progress is as far as filling that position. And I don't know if you know now, is there a plan for that? Because it's kind of open already since she hasn't been
We just posted it today, and it is for now TC.
Okay.
We do our best to fill it in a reasonable manner, or we have someone highly qualified that fits our program. When we went out for leave, we didn't get any learning consultants apply for the position, and that's why the person who's acting as a child study team member at Linden is not a learning consultant, which is a title city holds.
There is a shortage of learning consultants on special ed of any type is in very short supply, statewide and even nationwide, but particularly statewide. Yes?
Just sort of building on that.
Sure.
Just that also too, amongst a lot of the special education parents, because she was the most experienced person we had in the system, and as Dirk said, it's going to really be felt that she's not here because her passion and her caring for the children was beyond, she went above and beyond for the children. I think we also just were all hoping that with the shortage, and we know that this has sort of been a long process already with her absence and temporary filling, that the parents just really hope to have someone who has that experience level to help continue to guide the rest of the staff that is still fairly junior in our school district. So I just wanted to sort of add that comment and build upon the importance and the miss of her, so, and her replacement, how important that will be to the special education family. So.
Thank you. Mrs. Sella?
Yes, is now a time for a question about Central? You mentioned Central.
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
It's sort of always on the
Okay, it's
agenda, so
not-
that's
it's-
fine.
Well,
Thank
it's
you.
not construction related, but it does relate to Central. and
Okay.
It does relate to an email that was sent out where, correct me if I'm wrong, it was stated that at the beginning when Central is open, all of the pre-Ks will move into Central for a period of time, and then as other things happen and other moving parts move, they will then be distributed back to the school for which they are distributed. Did I understand that properly?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, as someone who had, what happens then when you have a child, say, in Forest, because you're districted for Forest, I know you said that you were going to try and keep children together. You can't always, for all 4 pre-Ks or however many you're going to have, you can't necessarily have everybody sibling in Central at that initial time. Have you thought about what happens when, because I've been through it, you have all those pre-payers in Central, and there will be some parents, more than normal, who have to jump from one school to the next for pickup and drop-off. And I will tell you, for drop-off, it's doable, because there's a 10-minute window. For pickup, it's impossible. I had to pick up my son early, and there were a few of us who had to do that, but now you're going to have a lot of people if you have 4 pre-Ks in there before you distribute them out to the rest of the schools. So with all the other traffic problems and issues you're going to have, how are you going to handle that?
I'm working with the 2 principals at the lower ends. There's a lot of different issues that need to be addressed, and those are things that we're working through.
And one suggestion, obviously, would be staggering.
Yes.
Yes?
I came to the meeting to ask about the procedures around the intruder, the security around the school relative to what we're classifying as the intruder that happened a couple weeks ago. Excuse me. I'm very happy to hear that you're using a security consultant. That's great, in order to, I guess, make some recommendations to the board about how we can improve on security. So that's really good. I had 2 follow-up questions on that. One is, the police officers that are now at the school, is that your jurisdiction to continue that, or is that the police's decision? Because as a parent, I would advocate that it would be great if we could continue to have the police presence in the school. I think it's making the children feel more comfortable, because they are feeling it even if they're not expressing it, because they're part of a world now where things happen in schools, unfortunately. So maybe you could just answer that. Is that your decision that we could influence, or?
It's not my decision. I don't get to place the police officers in
Okay,
town.
okay.
If you want, as speak to the chief to give me that power, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
But
I will.
typically, we work with the police, especially when we have situations that are a little concerning, that their presence is increased during those times.
Yeah.
And not just during the school day, but also when we have evening events. At one point where they will feel that there's not as great a need based on whatever developments they've had, they'll go back to their normal routines. One of the things I have continued to speak to the police chief about it is finding a way to get them, the police officers, into our buildings on a regular basis as part of their rounds.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure she would tell you that they would love to do that, but you know, personnel's an issue for them also, and how many officers they have on duty. But we have a very good working relationship with the police, so I just made a meeting, sit down with them next week to discuss several of the memorandum of understanding that we have to go through every year. And I'll make sure that's one of the items we discuss.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely. The memorandum of agreement is a legally required document. It defines every aspect of our relationship with the local police. So it's always when we sign it, we have to sign about 1 million copies of it, but every year when we sign it, it's a good opportunity to renew the acquaintance and talk about things like that that have come up. So it's coming right up next week.
Yeah, and even as a parent dropping our children off, or for those children who drive, it is comforting even for us to see the police there. I mean, it is a chaotic moment to drop off at the high school, as you all know, so it's good. And then the last point on the situation is also, what are the students being told? I mean, I'm not suggesting you're disclosing anything from them, but is there something being done broadly around, because now all their friends in all the other towns know too. I mean, they're all talking about it, right? Montclair knows. Montclair, by the way, you know, had a homeless man arrive at their school recently as well. A similar situation, except he was homeless, which is potentially sadder. I don't know. Anyway, so is there something being done from the guidance counselor group broadly, or is that, again, a police issue that they need to address?
I know it was the day after it happened that the principal addressed the student body.
Yes, yes, he did. So that's, I guess when I'm raising it up to say, I hope this isn't another situation where it just dies out. Like we had the situation last year where we had the intruder, happened to be fortunate, there was a lockdown, it was just another student from another town, sort of laughable. But, you know, as these things come up, we don't want this to feel the norm, right? Because
Correct.
someday it could be something, and we want to,
Correct.
as parents, as administrators, we all want to. So I think the students just are going about their day as if nothing happened, but something did happen, and it hasn't been resolved. So I just encourage maybe you as the administration to suggest that they continue to talk about it in schools to the extent that they can make the students feel comfortable.
Certainly will.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay, continuing with our agenda, it is the last meeting of the month, so we do not normally have committee and liaison reports, but does anyone have anything that is time sensitive? Okay, so next meeting we will have lots of reports. You have in your packets the minutes from the meeting of January 3rd, 2019, which was our reorg meeting. Barbara, I have one correction, and it is on the last page where you make reference to, and I can give this to you also, but you make reference to on the school president, there's just a spelling. Okay? And it's Julie Stolte, S-T-O-L-T. She's here.
And she would never complain about it.
But it stuck out of me, so it's, we can just fix that. Sure. Does anyone else have any corrections or additions? I just didn't want you to go incorrectly named to it. Okay, if there are no corrections, additions, Michael, would you move the minutes?
Sure, we have one.
Okay, may I have a second? Second, from Teresa. When you're ready, Barbara.
Mr. Bonnet? Ms. Boyle? Mr. DeLue?
Aye.
Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano? Ms. St. Aubern?
Aye.
Dr. Yaris Ramos? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, personnel, Tracy, would you move the personnel items?
Yes, I move P1 through
B11.
Okay, may I have a second? Second. Second from Ally. Any discussion of personnel items is held in exec session, keeping with our rules. So when you are ready, Barbara.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Palucci? Mr. DeLu? Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano? Ms. St. Auburn? Dr. Yaros Ramos? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, Michael, would you move the curriculum items? You notice that I remember the curriculum items.
I'll move C1 through C3.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Tracy. One question, Dirk, and it has to do with trips where there's a substantial student expenditure required. Do we have some financial aid available for students who are unable to afford the cost?
We typically will work with the family to cover some expenses if that's the case.
Any other questions or comments on curriculum items?
What about for a board member who has 2 kids?
I don't know about volume discounts. I think you have to have 5 children going to qualify. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Barbara, when you're ready.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Palucci? Mr. DeLu? Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano? Ms. St. Auburn? Dr. Yaros Ramos? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, before we move to business items, I'd like to draw your attention to P4 on your agendas. These are donations. We accept with thanks the generous donation of 6 months of yoga service from the Glenridge High School Home School. Thank you, Home School, for Glenridge High School. Again, it's a thing where board members could probably benefit from that too. And a generous donation of over $5,600 for Chromebooks from the Forest Avenue Home and School for Forest Avenue School. So thank you to those donors. Okay, Paul, would you move the business items?
I'd like to move items B1 through B8.
All right, may I have a second? Second from Anthony. Any discussion on the business items? Comments, questions, discussion? Okay, Barbara, when you're ready.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle Palucci? Mr. DeLu?
Aye.
Ms. Lang? Mr. Romano?
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn? Dr. Yaros Ramos? Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, we've now come very quickly to the second public comment period for comments and questions on agenda or other items. Any questions or comments? Yes, Mrs. Summer.
Mr. Phillips, if your staff receives notification that one student has threatened the life of another, what is the proper procedure for them to follow?
There would be an investigation situation.
What kind of investigation?
It depends. They would investigate the parties who made the accusations, witnesses, and the individual.
Witnesses too?
Correct.
Right. And do you become aware of that when that happens?
Yes.
Good.
In some cases, if that happens to you in local police.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Other questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Michael, may I have a second? Second. Second by Teresa. Oh, no, by Helen, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking in your direction. By Helen. Thank you all.